All right, new day and another laptop that needs to be saved, and this time we have a Dell XPS 9500. This is like a 2020 model. Now, this customer said that the machine started running a little hot, so he opened it up to clean the fans out, and he went to go grab some fuzz, and it created an arc and a flame because he used a screwdriver instead of a plastic scribe. So the machine will turn on, show the Dell screen, fans will blow, and it shuts back off, and that's all it does. So I haven't taken a look at this yet. Let's take a look together and see if we can get this figured out. First thing I want to do is I want to see if it turns on. Let's see what it does. Hit the power button. Okay, I am seeing a keyboard backlight. You can see it kind of lit up here. I don't have the charger plugged in yet. I just want to see what it does. I don't seem to be getting anything here. Oh, I do have a light here. Okay, we have the Dell screen. All right, let's see if it actually will get past this area here. That light turned off. That's usually the charge indicator anyway, so I'm not sure why it turned on for a second, but we have the Dell screen. Let me go ahead and plug in the charger. Keep an eye on the power meter. We went straight to 1 amp, and let's see. 1.2 amps, 1.5 amps, 1.8 amps, 2.2 amps, 2.6 amps, 3 amps. So that looks really good. Now I hear the fans blowing, and it just shut back off. And now we're just pulling 0.18, 0.2, 0.7. Now is that charge current? I don't know. Let's see if we can power it back on. Well, it is powered on still. Keyboard backlight's on. Is it going through like a CMOS reset or something? We could have some sort of BIOS issue. We could have some sort of, I mean, if they shorted something, I guess it could backfeed and corrupt the BIOS. It is acting kind of strange. Let me see if I can power the machine off. Okay, if I press the power button, I hear the fan spinning up, and it shut off, and then it just turned right back on immediately. Now, sometimes that's indicative of a BIOS issue. We could also just have some sort of damaged chip on the board, especially if it was arced a screwdriver to something and created some sort of spark. We have the Dell screen again. Let's see if we can get past this. And the caps lock is not responding. All right, now the fans are spinning up again, and then it shut off. So something strange going on, and it looks like it came right back on again. I can see the keyboard backlight again. So let's open up the bottom and take a look inside. All right, and the bottom is off. Let's take a quick look around. We have the main battery here. It looks like Dell OEM. We have some Ripjaw memory. There's one NVMe. It is populated. CPU and GPU, the fans are pretty clean. I'm just gonna unplug the battery. Let's do a CMOS reset where we discharge all the power from the machine and reset the BIOS. I'm gonna hold down the power button just for a second. And let's plug in the charger and see what it does. Keep an eye on the power meter. 0.6, all right. It went straight to 0.6. It's kind of a strange value. Do we have our keyboard backlight on? The machine should come on automatically right when I plug it in. It should usually start out like, oh, that blinked for a second. Yeah, it should start at like 0.2, go down to almost 0, then go up to like 1.5 amps. It should jump around a little bit. So I have the keyboard backlight on again. This is just hanging here, but we're not getting the Dell screen at all, and then this thing shuts off. I mean, it just blinks, but we're still sitting at 0.6 the entire time. It's not moving. It's not changing at all. And that's with the battery still unplugged. Okay, so we're not using it in conjunction with the battery. So now let's try the battery on its own. I'm gonna clear the CMOS again. Just wanna see if we're exhibiting something different on battery only and charger only. Now this machine should run without the battery. This is not gonna be an issue. So now I have the battery plugged in only. Let's see what it does. And oh, okay, we got the Dell screen again. So it seems like we're probably getting the exact same symptom, but let's see, this light just faded off, which is a good sign, like it's doing something. Let's see if it gets past the screen here. Fans are spinning up, and it shut back off. So we're still in that same boot loop. It does kind of seem like a BIOS issue because of the way that it's acting. I don't know for sure, and there's no real note explaining where the arc was. Now, they said they were picking up some fuzz, so I would assume there's some fuzz here or some fuzz in this area, something like that. So I'd assume that there would be an arc in this area. So let's take a look under the microscope. We want to see if we have a burned component or something like that. So I have the battery unplugged while I'm poking around here. Just want to look. So this is going to be the CPU right here on this side. These are the CPU MOSFETs, and then these are the GPU MOSFETs, and the GPU's over here, but I don't see any arcing going on here, or any signs of sparks or anything like that so far. Let me take the heatsink off so we can look underneath there. Now another thing I'm noticing is like the heatsink feels pretty cool. I feel some heat maybe on the GPU side, but not on the CPU side, so I'm wondering if the CPU is even coming on. All right, the heatsink is off. So here's what I want to try. Let's plug in the charger and let's get under the thermal camera. So right as I plug this in, doesn't matter if the lid's closed or anything, this should power on automatically. So let me get under the thermal camera and we can take a look at the board. So I'm plugging in the charger, 3, 2, 1. All right, so it's plugged in. So it went to 0.4. Oh, I saw the GPU heat up. And I'm not seeing anything, any heat over here. You can see kind of the heat signature around there. But the CPU is not heating up at all. So we are not getting any power to our CPU. Let's measure it too. We got nothing. And it looks like the GPU has 0.8 volts and the CPU has nothing. Okay. So there's a symptom or a sign of something going on, obviously. Now, what's causing the CPU not to get any voltage? I don't know at this point. You know, it could still be a BIOS issue, but since there was an arc, I would say that there's probably some sort of burn component. I'm going to go ahead and just pull the whole board out because they could have arced on the side of the board that we can see, but the burn can be on the other side. So let's pull the board out. I found it. I just found it. So as I was pulling this board out and I was taking this fan out, I could see some dark area right here, and this is going to be over in the RAM area. So we have identified our culprit. Here it is. Okay, so just so we can get our bearings, we have our DDR4 memory here. This is going to be our 3 volt and our 5 volt power rails right here. And this is going to be our 1.2 volt power rail for the RAM. And so if the RAM is not powering up, then we're not going to get our CPU. It makes 100% sense. So let's take a look here and see if we have a short. Now, it may just be that this power rail is not being energized. That's kind of what it looks like. This is an inductor here. And so we have the main power rail will come through this inductor, energize this part of this pad right here, which will go into this chip. And this chip will produce the 1.2 volts and output here and then go into the RAM memory stick. And so if this is blown, then we're not getting our main power rail voltage to this chip, so therefore it can't power up. So that's what I believe is happening here. I don't think it's a short, I just think it's been blown, and I think that most likely, because this is our main power rail, it probably arced from here to there. So I'm gonna get in continuity mode, and let's measure right here, see if we have a short. No short, which is perfect. This is gonna be ground, that's gonna be no short, and then we'll measure this side, no short. We have something going on here. Nope, it's fine. It cleared itself. That means it was just a capacitor filling up. So I think that this is not making contact with this. So we'll need to remove this. We'll need to rebuild this pad right here, and then we can put another inductor on there, and then that should resolve this issue. Look at all this. Let's clean it up with a toothbrush, and that way we can kind of see what we're working with. Now, if that pad is pretty damaged, I think we have enough to solder to, but it looks pretty damaged. And they said they had an arc and some fire. It makes sense because main power rail shorted to ground will do that for sure. All right, so let's get a little isopropyl alcohol and a toothbrush here. The pad is all gone. So all we have is just a little bit left. I think it'll be okay because we're gonna be able to figure out, you know, this is the main power rail, so we can get power from somewhere else if we need to. Because right here, the 3 volt and 5 volt power rails, they're gonna have inputs also, although the chip's on the other side of the board. I wonder, if we need it, I'm sure we can find it. But I think we have enough for the pad right here, right there. But yeah, you can definitely see that the metal has melted here. So this means we have actual welding going on, arc welding. And it looks like the pad is supposed to come all the way around here and go over there too. So we may just need to rebuild this whole area with new copper, and then we'll put that across there. So let me finish getting this board pulled out because I don't want to get a bunch of hot air over here and melt the palm rest. It's easy, I only have a couple screws left, so let me go ahead and get the board pulled out. All right, and the motherboard is out. All right, now that we have the motherboard pulled out, I want to try to remove that component. Now it's going to be welded, at least on one side. The other side should come unsoldered pretty easily. We're going to do the best we can not to destroy the pads that we have there, but we are going to need to rebuild the pad well enough in order for it to pull enough current in order to power that RAM. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. All right, so here's what we're working with. I'm going to start applying a little bit of heat and see if we can get it to come off. I'm going to preheat the board. I'm going to add a little bit of flux. This side's going to be welded, so its solder's not going to do anything. It's not going to be able to melt it with heat. But we're going to see if we can get this thing off of here safely. We got a couple vias that I don't want to destroy. Okay, look, we got it off. Okay, it looks like that side wasn't even attached anyway. That makes sense. Okay, let's zoom in. Let's see if we have enough to rebuild off of. Okay, that's all. Ooh, nice. We have plenty. Okay. All right, we're good. So all we need to do is attach this to this, okay? That's all we're trying to do, and we're going through that inductor, which is just like a filter that filters out any high spikes and stuff. Let me see if I can grind this down. This is a metal molten ball of metal. This whole area right here, I don't think we even need to rebuild or add anything there, I mean, we can do that, but I'm gonna be able to put the inductor here, just kind of shift it over a little bit, so the main part of it's gonna be soldered there, so we're gonna have enough connection, so I think we're gonna be okay. But I wanna grind this down so we're not running into anything here, so let me do that. So this is just a little grinding pen I picked up on Amazon. I can put a link in the video description. So it has a bunch of little tips you can change out, and the only reason why I end up using this is whenever we have this type of issue, when we have some sort of molten metal that has actually melted in a way where I cannot use a soldering iron to remove it, because this is not melted solder, this is actually molten metal. Just trying to get it as flat as possible here. I may leave that spot there. Let me do this one too. Alright, so let's get all these flakes off of here now. Let's get these flakes off of here the best we can. Okay, that's actually looking pretty good. So here's the plan of action. We're gonna get a new inductor that we're gonna put across here, and we're gonna try to get most of the pad tied on here and then kind of overflow onto that. We should be okay. We may have to do it a little sideways, or maybe I'll put it more on this side to make it make contact here, but we'll have to kind of play around with it. Let's grab a donor board. Let's pull one of those inductors off. I just want to see how it's going to fit, and if we do need to rebuild the pad a little bit more, but I think we'll be okay. We definitely have more than half of it's there, and the rest of it wasn't attached to anything anyway. All the vias were on that one side, so that's going to be carrying most of the current. All right, I got a donor board here. We're going to pull that inductor off now. So there's our inductor. You can see how far back it's actually soldered on, but there is plenty of space to solder to, so we're going to be shifting it over when we solder it on. And I think we'll be okay. We'll just have to experiment. And the inductor is off. All right, let's just do a dry fit. So the idea would put it right there. And if you look at the back, you can see where the pads are. So if I just line it up on the side right here, we're gonna try to get this part of the pad to be right here, and then that part of the pad would be right on the end. And now all we need to do is actually, we're going to grind away some of this so we can expose a little bit more pad so we can shift that down. Okay, so now we can add solder there, add solder here, and then we should be able to line it up perfectly. There we go. See how we expanded that pad so we have more room? And then we're just going to attach to this part of this pad right there. All right, let's see how this fits now. So we're going to be able to line it up just like that. Now if we wanted to, I could remove some of that solder there and put a solder mask just to kind of move that pad over, but I think we're going to be okay. It's not going to be a big deal. I'll tack it on there. I have it tacked. I'm going to add some flux and then we'll adjust it. I'll move it down this way just a little bit. Right about there. And we add a little bit of solder on the back side of that. Make sure that we have a good connection. Very good connection now. And then we'll check the other side. The other side definitely has a lot of solder, a good solder connection, but we're just going to do that just in case. There we go. All right, let's clean that up. Okay, let's go ahead and test it. And then the last thing I want to do after that is we're just going to put some solder mask over here to protect all of this. All right, to test it, I'm going to put it back under the thermal camera. What we want to see is we want to see this CPU turning on. I'm going to throw a stick of memory in there. Now, we could have bad memory now because they did explode that, but I think it's okay. You can see the board's a little hot still right here. We're not worried about that. I just want to see that CPU coming on. So I'm going to plug in the charger, and it should come right on immediately. 3, 2, 1. And keep an eye on the power meter there. 0.03, there we go, 1 amp for a second. CPU came on for a second. Shut back off, it should come back on again. CPU on, GPU on, and we are good to go. So I believe that did fix it up, but I want to finalize this by putting some solder mask to protect all of this whole area over here to clean it up. So let me go ahead and do that. I have a little bit of this blue solder mask. All right, so we'll just take a little bit of solder mask and drip it right down in here. Doesn't take much. Now this is not necessary, but I figure it's a good final touch, especially since we had exposed copper there. All right, and we'll just use the UV curing light, this right here, and just a couple cycles of this, and that will be all cured. I'll put links in the video description for any of the stuff I'm using, a microscope, all that stuff, but also for this UV curing light, solder mask, and then this grinding pen right here. All right, let's take a look and see if it's hard now. There you go, it's nice and hard, protected. So there's kind of the final, what it looks like, and that looks pretty good, especially since we did have an explosion with arcs and flames. So let me quickly reassemble this and we can finish our testing. I'll put some fresh thermal paste on here while we're at it, since it was running hot anyway. And this was pretty dried out, this thermal paste. If it's a 2020 model, it's been on here for about 4 or 5 years now. Yeah, this stuff's pretty dry. I can just scrape it off and it's like clay almost. All right, fresh thermal paste. So this should actually fix up their overheating issue that they were already having. All right, I got the motherboard reinstalled. Let's boot it up and see if it works. All right, moment of truth. Okay, keep an eye on the power meter here. I did see the Dell screen for a second, that's good. All right, and we have the Dell screen. We're pulling 2.7 amps. 60 watts, 3.3, 80 watts, 85 watts, 100 watts. That's really good. When we get that high, it means the battery is actually charging properly. The CPU is coming on because there's no way it can pull that much current without the CPU on. It's going to go through a CMOS reset. Let's let it sit here for a few minutes and reprogram the EC chip and everything, and then let's see if this thing will boot. All right, this is a good sign. We did get to the time and date it's been set, so that means the CMOS did get reset properly. Let's see if it will boot to an operating system. And it is booting to Windows. All right, so we successfully saved this laptop. So this was an interesting one because the customer accidentally arced his tool that he was using to pick up a fluff of dust from the fan area and shorted it to the main power rail and blew out an inductor that powered the DDR4 memory. So in the process, when we took this apart and put it back together, we ended up re-thermal pasting it. So we should be fixing the overheating issue that they were having. And now the machine's turning on. And I'd love to know your thoughts on this one. And thanks for watching.
I saved another laptop.